Hey guys, we are live on Facebook and YouTube, and welcome to part one of Native American Saturdays, as I call it, or Saturn other words. It's really dark here in the UK. It's only about 2:36 according to my mobile, 2:39 according to my laptop, but it's already really dark. I was going to say 2 o'clock, but I'm really behind schedule. But I woke up this morning, I was feeling really rough. Most of them was feeling really rough, but um, I was stuck in two minds about wanting to go to see my brother-in-law's gig, but I feel really tired and I had to dress up and all that kind of thing. And I wanted to focus on these videos, so I decided not to. I thought I'd let them know early because I thought it was best to let them know early. But anyway, nice life story now. But welcome to part one and of Native American Saturdays, to put it simple. I didn't get around to finishing off part 3 and 4 because I ran out of ideas. But one of the things I was going to say is, I suppose I probably can't take my jumper off because wearing my cap or whatever. But I'm wearing this Italy t-shirt, which I was wearing yesterday as well, which I wanted to get around to saying. I was taking my top off and saying, maybe I will say, got to be careful because I don't want to reveal my fat hairy stomach. Oops. This Italy top that my mum's friend got me from, I don't know if it's from Italy itself, but my mum's Italian friend got it for me because she knows I'm an Italian fan, funny enough. And it's when Italy won World Cup in 2006. So I was thinking, I was going to say that in point number 21 yesterday, but I didn't get around to it because I was running out of things to say and I kind of forgot, I think, as well. But yeah, so I was thinking, I'd love for Italy to get back to this level and win like the World Cup next year, like 20 years later. Although we've got to go through like a playoff, and then we've got to. I thought because it was 21st as well yesterday. I thought like 21 again. We'll go through a playoff, and then we've got to. If we're going to do it, so we've got to be at Northern Ireland and then either Wales or Bosnia and Herzegovina. How would you pronounce it? Oh, I don't want to take any of those teams lightly. I love for Italy to get its act together and turn it around. Like I love for, sorry for those who are not into footy or soccer or whatever you call it, but I'd love to get, I'll say soccer because Saturdays, and it's also in America next year. But I'd love for Italy to get back to. I dream that Tonali will play like, I can't find him on this picture, like Pirlo, and like all our players, like defenders and midfielders, well, all the team really, well, especially defenders, will like learn from like watching clips of Cannavaro and people like that and learn from them and make sure, like Bastoni playing like Cannavaro or Maldini or whatever. But also I'd love for Italian teams like Inter and even their rivals AC Milan, and I've got both caps because I'm mad, getting back to that level of winning Champions Leagues and things like World Club Cups and things like that. But yeah, as I say, I didn't get around to parts 3 or 4 yesterday. I didn't. Not only did I not get around to part 4, but I didn't even get around to part 3 yesterday of Friday. So, a bit disappointing. But anyway, on to today's topic. Here goes. So these are pointers, number 1 to 10, as per usual. So number 1, if I was thinking, it took me a while, as usual, to get my butt and the rest of me out of bed. But I was thinking of if I could get in touch with Santander, the bank Santander. I don't know where they operate, how many countries they operate in. But I was thinking of Santander as an example because they start with SA, Santander, just like Saturday. So if I could convince them, or if I could ask them, I'd say, would you be interested in investing in or sponsoring an Italian soccer team? Like, I know I'm going to be off topic, but I will get to the point. I'll try, I promise. But would you be interested in investing into or sponsoring, preferably investing into and sponsoring, but preferably both, an Italian team like especially either Sampdoria, Sassuolo, or Salernitana? One of those, by the rules, I don't think they can invest in more than one in the same league or whatever. And also, I'd love for them to invest in Celtic, but also amongst other things. And I mean, if they say no, they say no. But I am wary about like sending too many messages or like coming across as spamming people, pestering people, or whatever. I don't really want to do that, but I do have a bad habit of overdoing things, I guess. But yeah, I'd ask them like, would you be interested in investing in one of those? Now I know it's not the most professional to say. Maybe to what's it called? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Kind of speculative thing or something like that, or whatever it is, like spam sort of stuff or whatever. But yeah, maybe if I could write a letter or get like fans of Serie A or Italian soccer or whatever and Celtic respectively to write to them or make videos and send them to or send a copy of this link or whatever. But yeah, if I could ask Santander, and if they say no, they say no, I guess. But sometimes I love to leave like voice tips with my ideas, like try and do an elevator pitch and like, practice as I go along as well. But again, it's a difficult one to get the balance right. But yeah, I'd ask them to invest in one of those. And I know it's not the most professional to say just because Santander even, sorry, starts with SA, just like Sampdoria, Sassuolo, and of course Salernitana, for instance. But just because I'm a fan of Italian soccer generally. But yeah, not the most professional of me, but I sometimes even admit to that, which is probably not the best pitch. But yeah, I'd love to have suggestions on how would you do an elevator pitch. But also bring it back to a topic. I would love to get them to invest in places like South Africa, maybe even looking at like Saudi Arabia, if they could host events to invite banks like Santander and other businesses and organisations, and also, let's say South Africa, Saudi Arabia, and places like that, but also seeing if they could support Native American startups. Startups is another word that reminds me of like Saturday, because it starts with similar letters, which I've said before, and seeing if they would be interested in investing into and sponsoring their businesses and funding basically Native American startups, or black startups, neurodivergent startups, and that kind of thing. Maybe hopefully I'll copy and paste this and send it to Santander and see what they think. And I'll see again if they say no, but it could be good for their PR and that kind of thing. But I gave Santander an example, or I'm giving it Santander as an example, but it could be different businesses or organisations. One thing I thought about Santander as well is like, it reminds me of Santa and Deer, so they could use that for their Christmas ad. And maybe they should pay me commission, but I was thinking that maybe they could use neurodivergent people to make their adverts. So I'm sure neurodivergent people, especially dyslexic people with a creative out-of-the-box thinking, could be quite good for advertising. I'm sure there's many dyslexics and other neurodivergent people who work in advertising, because I also think like neurodivergent November. But yeah, I'd also get them to support like the Rare Gem School and like soccer in Italy generally, like soccer pitches and things like that. But yeah, also Native American startups and all that kind of thing. But again, not just Santander, but I gave Santander as an example because I think I was thinking of them for like Saturday startups and that kind of thing. So I'd love for them to especially support, to invest into an Italian soccer team, either Sampdoria, Sassuolo, or Salernitana, and also to invest in Celtic and of course sponsor them, and also to support Native American, as we call neurodivergent, and black startups, and that kind of thing. But yeah, maybe other banks would compete with them as well, and other businesses generally, banks and businesses and that kind of thing, would compete with them to see who can invest the most or sponsor the most. But I suppose it's worth a shot, as I say. If you don't ask, you don't get. Shoot your shot or whatever, as they say, or whatever. I suppose they probably referring to something else when they say that. But moving on, number two, also to go from startup stage to SME stage and build their businesses. So Native Americans and other organisations support their startups and sole traders, but also like SMEs and even bigger businesses and that kind of thing, and see what they could teach them, how they could teach and train them, help them to study about business, that kind of thing. I'm not the biggest fan of academia, but it probably has its values. But I think like teaching them how real business works. Like if I was going on a course about business nowadays, I'm more interested in philanthropy. But even if I wanted to learn about business, tech, and things like that to help groups like people from Africa and also Native Americans and others, I'd say that I'd rather learn from someone who's actually been there and done that than rather than like a textbook case thing or whatever, in my personal opinion. But as ever, I'd love to know what points are raised that you agree with or disagree with, or any other thoughts that you have in the comments as ever. Number three, I'd love to support Native Americans as well as like neurodivergent people and the black diaspora it as singers, songwriters, and things like that. Number 4, also I think of like things that begin with S, especially SA, or SAT or whatever, because my use of my silly billy use of alliterations and that kind of thing. So I was thinking like, hence obviously singers, songwriters, and so people are either just singers or just songwriters or both, basically covering all my bases there, and also scientists and people like that as well. So people from areas, I'm especially thinking of ones that begin with S, and I hope to Google like words something less or whatever. But if you can think of any yourself, please let me know. Maybe I'll copy and paste from Google to say like words that begin with S and that kind of thing, or SA even, and that kind of thing. I know, it's probably very immature of me, but normally when I Google those things, it's even like on like websites that are especially for kids learning words and all that kind of thing. So it shows how immature, how much of a silly billy I am. But moving on, number 5, as I say, I love to support Native Americans and neurodivergent people and the Black diaspora with their ambitions and aims and goals in life and that kind of thing. And again, I'd love to know suggestions on what are the best ways to do that. I'd love to hear from Native people from across the Americas to know what are the best ways that they can be supported with their ambitions and aims. Like, could people mentor them? I mean, I think of that on Mentor Mondays, but could they mentor them and that kind of thing? I was thinking, part of me was thinking to myself, don't give too much of what's in my mind, go off on tangents. But I was thinking, again, you give my use of alliterations, but I think of things that like either have an acronym like M.S. or S.M. in that order. So it could be Saturday, motivational Saturday, mentorship included, and that kind of thing. But moving on, I have some very quirky patterns. But moving on, number 6, as I say, I am trying to focus more on Native American empowerment, but also a bit of neurodivergent empowerment and empowerment for the Black diaspora. In fact, for this month, I want to focus on those 3 groups really. I suppose I could have done November as well, the moustache rate, for raising money for tackle cancer and that kind of thing. But I also do one thing about Italian football, which needs a lot of improvement at club and country level. And sometimes Italian soccer does well at the country level, and sometimes it does at the national level, and sometimes it does well at the club level. But I love it to do better at both somehow. So playing more younger players, maybe learning from what Spain, France, and others have done. And I love for, again, I'm going a bit off topic from what's in the title and that kind of thing, but I love for people from the diaspora. I was trying to think of quite a lot yesterday. I was thinking of quite a lot yesterday, but I was trying to express my ideas and find a way to put them into practice. But I saw something from Italy and the US, the sort of embassy, and is it Maria Bartolomeo? I think she's a journalist for CNN or whatever. Don't know a huge amount about her, but I've seen some of her documentaries or programs a while back, or interviews a while back rather. Sorry, not running those. But sometimes it feels like it's running when it's not, because probably sensory issues. But anyway, she was talking about like connecting with her Italian roots, and it reminded me of my idea like about, especially when I talked about it yesterday, because it was the 21st, I was in like 21 again, connecting with roots, going back to your roots. But I was thinking of Italians connecting with, or those from the diaspora or how you pronounce it, connecting with their roots by through soccer or calcio or whatever you call it. So like, I'd love for them to invest into, sponsor, enter, or even donate to, follow and certainly support Serie A, the Italian league, Coppa Italia, the Super Cup, the Italian Super Cup, and the national team, and maybe the club where their roots are from, for instance, or whatever, to benefit Italian soccer. Again, I'm going a bit off topic, but I know I mentioned as well, I love for Italian soccer teams like AC Milan, for instance, have academies and sports clubs with the Internet cap, but within native communities from across the Americas to get them into soccer. They could work with FIFA and UEFA for that and get more funding perhaps. Another thing I wanted to do yesterday, but I didn't get around to, was write my ideas for FIFA and that kind of thing. As a neurodivergent person or whatever, so neurodivergent people working with FIFA. Not that I'd want Italian soccer to get any benefits, unfair and unfavourable or illegal benefits with FIFA, but so as long as they do it within the rules of the game, and I'd love to see them getting all possible investment and funding as long as it's legal, and all possible legal funds, legal sources of investment and funding. And I think neurodivergent people can see out of the box to support that. I'd love to encourage as many neurodivergent people to support that, as I said before in the past. But yeah, I think people from the diaspora could support Italian soccer through investments, sponsorship, even donations to Italian soccer, following and supporting Italian soccer and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'd love for them to have academies, bringing it back to Native Americans, to have academies for Native people from across the Americas, which I hope will be a mutual benefit. I hope that will benefit Italian soccer at club and country level, especially at club level, but even practicing, especially at youth level, which I hope will benefit the national team as well, especially club teams, and hopefully they'll be able to benefit Native people from the Americas to introduce them to the beauty of soccer, the beautiful game, and also they can have cultural exchanges and fundraising for empowering Native American startups, SMEs, businesses generally, and Native Americans in STEM, which I've become to. But I'm going to move on to number 7, similar with Celtic. I was thinking about Celtic as well. Again, I'm not going a bit off topic, but same sort of things with Celtic that I think with Italian football. Interestingly enough, and I suppose sadly enough in my case, it seems like both Italian soccer and Celtic are struggling with issues at the moment. Italy's struggling to even qualify for the World Cup. The club teams aren't doing too well, unfortunately, that kind of thing. And Celtic, I suppose, by Celtic standards, are not doing too well. I mean, by Italy's standards, Italy's certainly not doing well. But and Italian clubs and all that used to be really right at the top in the 90s, but are really struggling, unfortunately. So I hope we can get back to those glory days, which is what I was thinking about a lot yesterday, 21 again, I'll say. But because I was focusing on and I've been focusing on Native American and neurodivergent and black empowerment, I haven't really got around too much to do with Italian soccer, which I hope to do in December, although I want to think about dyslexic empowerment. So I have so many goals in my mind. But I was thinking about the AGM, and also I was a bit disappointed because I was looking, very disappointed in fact, because I was looking through my older videos to try and find ones where I made questions to Celtic supporters about what sort of things they want. So I was thinking I'd love to ask Celtic supporters, once again, I know I'm going off topic a little bit, but I'd love to ask Celtic supporters so I thought I'd do the title and then still go off on tangent and talk about a few different things, but as some videos, other people do with their videos and all that kind of thing, but which is the main theme, is obviously the title and that kind of description, but I hope it's not seen as false advertising. But on a serious note, with the AGM, the annual general meeting, for those who might not know that's what that stands for, there was lots of complaints, but I'd love to ask Celtic supporters, so I'll try and get to the point. I'd love to ask Celtic supporters what would they like to see. I'd love to do an opinion poll for Celtic supporters, and also to say those who want to sack the board and that kind of thing. I'd love to know who they'd replace them with, and if they don't want to see wealthy Arab billionaires or whatever, or sovereign wealth funds or whatever generally, or banks or hedge funds, private equity funds, or really wealthy people investing in the club, and they say it's not what the club stands for. I wonder what they want to see, especially for those who want to compete in Europe and do better, because those who want to see more ambition, if we don't have as wealthy owners, even if they want to invest, would they have the pockets to invest and the bank to invest, the bank account? So even if supporters do want to do that, but I wonder what their solutions are. I mean, they might say you wouldn't need as much money, but you could still invest more off what you do have or whatever. But one thing I was thinking of, for instance, I'd love to ask Celtic sports if we got wealthy owners to invest, just like I love for Italian soccer to get, if they invested in if they supported the charitable work as well as like buying better players and investing in the academies, we would have much more money to give to charitable causes. So would you welcome that? But maybe I'll talk more a bit about Celtic and Celtic sports tomorrow. But yeah, I'm a bit gutted that it seems like Facebook got rid of those videos, because I'm sure I made my usual 4-part list videos where I talked about asking questions to Celtic supporters. So again, I'm a bit gutted about that, but I hope it's somewhere available. But I did look for it and couldn't see those videos, so it's a bit annoying. That's Celtic. That Facebook seems to be deleting comments. But I'm going to move on to number 8. As I'd love to know what are the best ways we could be allies for the native people of the Americas, and I'd love for POC to especially support native people from across the Americas, especially given what they went through in history. Number 9, I'd love to support Native Americans with their ambitions, and again, I hope Native Americans and native people from across the Americas stumble across this manga here, because then I'd love for them to get involved in the comments and say these are ambitions. So rather than these are the best ways, or even other people saying these are the best ways to empower them, say this is what I'd like to become. I'd like to become a doctor so I can support my community, or I'd like to learn about medicine, healthcare, and that kind of thing, so I can support my community, or whatever. Or whatever it might be, whatever their ambitions and aims are, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'd love to support them with their goals, and look at how like music and sport could be used to fundraise for their goals, as well as businesses, as I say, like Santander and others supporting them. And number 10, I'd love to empower young native people from across the Americas. That's something I'd love to do as much as possible, not just for Saturdays, obviously. But anyway, I'm out, and good luck.